What's up, everybody? You are tuned in to the GM podcast. This is your host, Manuel, and my co-host, Gabby. Please, Gabby, tell everybody out there what will we be discussing today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the one and only Gabby. Well, today we'll be discussing something very close to my heart today. We will be discussing my divorce. A lot of people, the reason I'm getting into this topic is not so much that it's anybody's business, honestly, of what happened in my life or what's happening in my life. But as I've said before, I feel like if I can somehow help anybody going through some tragic times, or if I can give some type of advice that can help them or make them feel better, or just give them insight on what I went through, maybe they'll catch a little bit of how they can help themselves. So, a lot of people don't know what happened. My ex-husband and I divorced 3 years ago, and it came to a shock. Literally, it felt like it shocked the whole world, because I think that people saw us as a very tight, very kind of like a power couple, we do jiu-jitsu together, we train, we won a couple of medals together. He ran his own business with his dad, and I've always been a very hardworking woman. I also, a lot of people saw us as, we had everything. We had a house. All we needed was a picket fence, honestly. We had the dog and the house and the kids, and our life was great.
Living the American dream, right?
Absolutely. So I think, like I said, it shocked the whole world, and I never really spoke about it. Just to a very small amount of people did I kind of talk about it. I think in a sense was just to make me feel better, because 3 years ago I was in shambles. I was broken. So I didn't know what to do or what to say. But yep, sorry, that topic was a very long topic.
Cool. Yeah, that's a very interesting topic, by the way. I, too, was in a relationship for quite a while. So never married, but I do have I do have a long-term relationship with this significant other. We also have 2 kids together, 2 great kids. They're still small, but as for me, when we split up, I would say it was very hard on my kids, but at the same time, it was a reliever for me. I'm the one who seeked it. I'm the one that looked forward to ending my terms with this significant other. But please, partner, let me know how this affected your kids.
Well, my ex-husband and I, you have to understand that most kids see their parents, actually, let me rephrase that. Most parents divorce or separate when their kids are small. My kids were older. My kids were almost adults. I have a 20-year-old son and I have a 15-year-old son. So they've seen mom and dad together for all their lives, yeah, of course, like almost into adulthood. So I think it hit my sons very hard, obviously. But I'd like to kind of give a little bit of history on our relationship. My ex-husband and I met when I was 16 and he was 17, and immediately it was really weird. It was a blind date. It wasn't really supposed to happen, but it did, and we ended up dating for 2 years, and then I got pregnant with my oldest son, Joey. Fast forward, during that period, we had a lot of ups and downs. I mean, for God's sake, we were 2 kids. Like, what the hell do we know about family? What do we know about finances? What do we know about mortgages, kids, marriage? We didn't know anything. So we were just 2 kids trying to figure out, we're pregnant. Now what? Right? So having said that, the relationship already started on the wrong foot. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, of course. I think From my situation, it was kind of sort of the same way. I didn't tie the knot with this person, you know. So there was just things that were the same type of nature, but in a different family bonding type of way.
Well, when we decided to finally get married, it was a relief for me because I wanted to get married immediately after I found out that I was pregnant. I wanted to get married like right away because our tradition, our culture makes us women feel bad that if we don't get married, if we have a child out of wedlock, it's like a huge taboo. And so I thought that the right thing to do was to get married, and it really wasn't. But he wasn't ready to get married. So we waited a few years and we finally he finally asked me to get married, and it was like the happiest time of my life. However, having that we had already started on the wrong foot, it was a relationship that honestly, it was doomed for failure. Because first of all, he was a boy. He was a teenage boy and I was a teenage girl. Never had we experienced life. Never had we experienced to be with other people or to know maybe there's somebody who has the same interests as I. Maybe there's somebody like me out there. Maybe there's somebody who, like me and my ex-husband, are completely opposites. Total opposites. Having said that, I now fully disagree 100% with the saying opposites attract.
Got a question for you. Would you say, or how can would you say that there were a lot of red flags in the beginning of your guys' relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, back then, I didn't consider them red flags. I considered them just a normal, what is normal? Like, honestly, what is normal? You see your parents. First of all, your parents are your main role models. And sometimes you see your parents fight and bicker and complain about really insignificant things. So you think, oh, that's normal. That's the way you love somebody. Because you're a child, you don't know anything about relationships. And especially if you come from a broken family, then you think broken is normal. So, we go through all these phases and, kind of going back to what I just said earlier a little while ago, that opposites should not attract, that it in itself is a red flag. Opposites should not attract. If you are attracted to a person who is completely opposite of you, it is not a good idea. First of all, I'm not a relationship therapist or an expert, but I can tell you this much. Me and my ex-husband were completely opposites, and there was moments in our times where we were completely miserable with each other. So, and I'm being honest, I'm not, this podcast is not to bash him. It is not to bash men or marriage. It's to try to give insight into what to look out for, because now that I'm almost a 40-year-old woman, I now understand, wow, like I wouldn't put up with certain things at my age now. I picture my future relationships to be different. And like I said, this has nothing to do with him being a bad person or a good person. It's just that we were young, naive, and completely opposite. So in a sense, we were strangers that lived together for 20 years.
So who called the divorce?
He did. He called the divorce. So to me, that was a big blow to me. He has his reasons. I don't think they're valid, because when you mess up, like for instance, if I thought that I was in the wrong, I will sit here and say, you know what, I was a woman who was toxic, or I could have done this and that better. Of course I wasn't perfect. I'm not trying to say that. but his excuses are not valid to me, and up to this 3 years later they're still not valid. I would rather have him been honest with me and said, look, this is what I'm going through. My life is not what I expected it to be. And therefore, like something like that in a sense. Of course, it was still going to hurt. I wasn't just going to be like, oh, okay, I understand. Bye, see you later. But it wouldn't have put such a huge burden on my back and on my heart and in my soul that I was a bad woman or a bad wife or a bad mother, because that's a huge responsibility to put onto somebody. Huge. So I would have rathered him be honest with me and said, hey, Gabby, this is not what I expected my life to be. I'm lacking this or I'm lacking that. That is more of a conversation that I would have loved to have back then. I mean, now it doesn't matter. You know, we've moved on and he's moved on, and I really hope that he's happy. You know, because I'm very happy. I'm single. Honestly, I'm single. I have my business. My 2 sons are great kids. I'm just doing me, and I've discovered so much about myself. I've discovered who I really am. And I think in a sense, when you're married with the I don't want to say the wrong person, but when you're married to a person who you are not compatible with, what happens is that you end up suppressing each other. I may have suppressed him because he's different from me, and I could tell you honestly that he suppressed me a lot, and a lot of things that I wanted to do, the things that I enjoy doing, you know. So
did you suppress him in any type of way?
Well, I think so. Honestly, I don't know. I think if I speak honestly, I think in his eyes, maybe he wanted a wife a little bit more, how do you call it? More homey, like a wife who stays home and knits sweaters, I guess. I don't know. I'm being sarcastic, but that's not who I am. I'm a very outgoing person. I'm always very busy. I love to stay busy. I am full of ambition. I'm full of fight. I'm full of passion. You can't hold somebody like me in a house to just sit there and wait for your husband to get home. That's not who I am. Trust me that I tried in my own way. I tried to be everything that I thought he wanted me to be. But moving forward, when he asked for the divorce, I mean, it really hit me like a ton of bricks. And I felt lost and confused because he's all I ever known as a child, right? Because we were together as children. Because when you're 16, you're a child, you're not an adult. And so he was everything to me. He was everything to me. And of course, including my 2 sons. Like, I thought to myself, okay, now what? There's no life. After them, there's no life. Like, I worked for them. I did everything for them. But now that the sandstorm has settled, and now that I've had 3 years to think about what happened, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. And in a weird, twisted way, I'm glad he did what he did, because we both freed ourselves. He freed himself from me, and now I'm free from him. Because we were 2 kids who met, thought we were in love, and got married and put up with each other's bullshit for 20 years. That's really what the marriage was about. Of course, there was happy times, and of course, there was a lot of sad times as well. But, you know, I thought, hey, well, shit, I guess this is marriage. You know, you're supposed to feel a certain way. You're supposed to feel stuck, or you're supposed to feel like this, you know, and honestly, you're not. So I don't blame him for asking for the divorce. I think he could have approached it in a different manner, but I don't blame him. And honestly, if I were to be completely honest, because I'm trying to be honest here, I give him a lot of fucking credit for what he did. He he did what he did for his own happiness. And as selfish as that sounds, I think a lot more people need to do that. I think a lot more people need to take a chance. If you feel miserable or sad or burdened, you need to do what you got to do to feel happy. Now, not to say I think he has his own issues he needs to work out. I'm not here to spill his beans, but I think he has his own issues to work out. You can't expect to leave a 20-year marriage and automatically jump into a relationship. Like, that's not healthy. And I think you saw, partner, because you and I were friends during this time, and I think you saw me struggle through my loneliness. And I needed to go through that. And I'm so glad that I didn't jump into a relationship soon after my divorce, because I wouldn't have ever discovered who the hell I am, what I like, what I expect out of a relationship, out of a job, out of my life. You need to be alone. And I thank you for that. You've made me realize a lot of things, and we've talked about this before in the, you and I, and I've told you, gosh, thank you so much for helping me through these difficult times. You gave me a lot of insight of your single life, of what you went through, about your relationship, how you struggled, how you felt. Insecurities hits you like a ton of bricks after a breakup, especially when the breakup meant something. Your breakup, you had 2 kids also come out of this relationship. I had my 2 amazing sons that I don't regret anything. I don't regret being married. I had great times. Also, I wouldn't have had my 2 amazing sons that I love with all of my heart. So things happen for a reason. Definitely happen for a reason. He's a great father. I'm very blessed that my boys have a strong dad, a brave dad, a smart dad, and he's there for them. He's always been there for my 2 sons. So really, in a sense, what did I lose? I lost the husband, yes, but I gained a lot of knowledge. I gained a lot of knowledge about me. I gained a lot of knowledge about life, honestly. Like, either you level up, and I think we've said this before, if you allow a tragic moment drag you down and you stay down, that's your fault. That is, and that's a whole different show, but that is your fault. If you stay down after a tragic moment, that is your fault. I was a victim. I felt like a victim. I cried. I kicked. I screamed. I yelled. Whatever. But you know what? It was a short-lived moment, and I said to myself, you need to get up, dust yourself off, bitch, because you're better than this. And I did exactly. I took my own advice, and I grabbed my life by the horns, and I made it work.
Good thing that good things come out of shitty situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember feeling somewhat suppressed in a relationship that lasted for a very long time as well. But nevertheless, I broke my own chains, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever done for myself. It elevates you in a particular way that what's out there for you, and if you don't take some time to reflect, and this is what I told you before, take some time off. You don't have to do what's normal for everybody else. You know what I mean? I told you, it's okay to feel somewhat alone. You need that solitude in order for you to start reflecting on your own energy. What happens is that your energy takes you in a different direction instead of diverting to this normalcy of having to find a boyfriend or girlfriend or a husband or wife. It doesn't always have to lead that way so quickly. I think we all fall victim to this. We all fall into this systematic time in our place, we don't know anything else. Instead of just taking time to actually understand yourself, understand if you really like that other person, understand them, and if they like you too the same way, then that's what makes you guys this power unit, this power couple. But yeah, you talked a lot about suppression. What were some of the things that he would suppress you on?
Well, like I said, I want to reiterate that I'm not bashing him in any way, but I think his viewpoint of a wife was honestly not me. I think a couple of things, for me, they were big things. I'm a very ambitious woman. I seeked a career. There was a time where I wanted to be a police officer. There was another time, I got really involved in my competitive nature with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love to dance. I'm in a folklorico dance group. There's my hobbies. There's a lot of things that I wanted to do, but one of the biggest suppressions that I felt kind of remorseful was my career. He didn't want me to be a police officer. He didn't like the idea. I wanted to go to college too. Soon after I had my first son, I wanted to go to college. He didn't approve of that either. And I think I don't think it's because he didn't want me to become a better person. I think it was because he wanted me to be this wife in his mind. It's because I know that he meant well for me. I'm not sitting here saying that, he didn't want me to be a better person or independent, but I think he envisioned this wife that I wasn't meant to be. Now, trust me, man, I could be a wife. I could I'm a very loving, caring woman. I'm a very hardworking woman. I gotta cook the meals. I'll cook the meals. I love hosting parties. I'm a very people person, but I just can't do certain things that other wives do. I can't be a homebody. I'm not a homebody. And, and like I said, that's why, hence, opposites should not attract. If your wife loves to party and you like to stay home, guess what's gonna happen? Conflict. If your husband likes to go out and have a couple beers with the boys, but you're a jealous woman, guess what's gonna happen? Conflict. It's easy equation. Now I see it. I didn't see it before. I didn't see it that way. But now that I like to think that I'm a fully healed person, I know what I want. I love myself completely. I value other people that are in my life, my loved ones, my family. My beliefs are so concrete now that now I realize that his marriage, our marriage was not a healthy one. We were two kids, naive, stupid, and ignorant. We didn't know anything about nothing. We figured things out together as a trial basis. Pretty much we were an experiment. That's how I see it. So, do I hate him? I don't hate him. Was I very hurt? Hell yeah, man. I was very hurt. And I think it took a solid year and a half to finally let things go. And one thing I do think, guys, is it's cliche to say this because everybody says it. Forgiveness is so important. I had to forgive him. Not for him. He doesn't owe me nothing and I don't owe him nothing. But I needed to forgive him in order for me to move on. If you don't forgive people and you hold on to this anger, you're literally, there's a saying out there that says, holding anger, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That is what anger does to you. You have to forgive. As much as you hate what that other person has done to you, you have to forgive, even if you never talk to them again. You have to be very sincere about certain emotions going on in your heart and say, you know what? I forgive him. You know what? I forgive her. whatever, etc. I know people are going to ask, or people are wondering, I wonder if they have a great relationship or a friendship, he and I. We don't have a friendship and we don't have a relationship. We have a mutual understanding of what our roles are. He is the father of my 2 sons, and I am the mother of his 2 sons. And because we love our kids so much that our egos are swept under the mats and our kids come first. Our 2 boys come first. And that's going to kind of lead me into the next topic about how people could be very toxic. When you divorce or separate, the ego automatically wants to bash that person, degrade that person, talk shit, take them for what they got, etc., etc. We all know it because that's how people operate. For the sake of my kids, and I've said this before, there is nobody alive on this planet that is worth the mental health of my kids, of my boys. They always come first. So if I sit there and bash their father to other people or to my kids, who am I really hurting? I'm hurting my boys because my boys love their dad. And so for me to sit here and talk about him and make him feel or make him less of a man or whatever, vindictive style, I'm not hurting really. Yeah, I'll probably rub him the wrong way and you'll probably be pissed off at me, but I'm really hurting my boys. So, and ultimately, I want my sons to grow up to be 2 outstanding men. And in order to create men and women, you got to be one yourself.
That's right.
So I want my sons to know, hey, you know what? Not everything works out, but it's not the end of the world. And I know that my sons know that their mom is not only hardworking, very brave, courageous, and I'm very respectful of other people. Now, other people could have their opinions, and we're always going to agree to disagree. But when I believe in something very passionately, I will defend it. You could think or believe in one thing, and I could believe and think in another thing. And hey, at the end of the day, we'll still be okay. So going through this tragic loss, because that's the way I saw it in the beginning. And I realized that it wasn't as bad. What do you really lose? You're afraid to lose material stuff. I was afraid to lose a house. People get so stuck on material things, honestly. I was afraid to lose the house. I was afraid to lose, because I was not just a house, it was my home. I was afraid to lose a financial status. I was afraid to lose. A lot of it was material things. And of course, on the top of all that was I was afraid to lose my family. But have I lost my family? No, my boys will always be my boys till the day I die. Will they be my sons? And he was once my ex-husband, or my husband, whatever you want to say. He was once my husband. So you don't really lose, you gain, if that's the way you see tragedy. If you see tragedy as, okay, this happened to me, it's time to move on, and this is what I've gained from it. I've gained experience, I've gained knowledge, I gained a way of, if you're a toxic person, for instance, if you're a toxic person and somebody breaks up with you because you're toxic, then guess what? You're going to need to learn to untoxify yourself, or you're just going to lose somebody else in the process.
What if you could shed some light to someone or a couple that's going through the same situation or that's coming out of a divorce, what would you tell them?
Well, first of all, things are going to be okay, man. I didn't think things... I remember feeling so broken and so sad, like severely sad. I don't have words to really explain how I felt, but I felt like my world was over. And I prayed, literally, I prayed for the day for me to be happy again. And that's sad. That's sad to say that I prayed to be happy again. Like, I really sat there and I was like, please, please let me be happy again. But things will get better, guys. Like, honestly, things will get better. It's not the end of the world unless you make it the end of the world. Things will get better, and things may work out even better for you, honestly. Like I said before, I felt suppressed in my marriage in a lot of different ways. And what the hell am I doing now? I run my own business. Of course, with you, my partner. But I mean, now I'm a business owner. I'm single. I'm having the greatest time of my life. I'm visiting places I've never been. I do what I want. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not bashing marriage, because marriage is for some people. But that type of lifestyle wasn't for me. And like I said, I respect my ex-husband for having the courage to rattle the cage. Like, he didn't just rattle the cage, he broke the damn cage. So it takes a lot of courage to do that. I don't hate my ex-husband. I respect him as the man that he is. I respect him as the father of my 2 sons. He is a great dad, and he is a very active father. And that, honestly, that's really all I want. That's really all I need, because I can only serve and please myself. Nobody else is going to give me that happiness other than me.
Whoa. Okay, seeing all the red flags that you saw now, what would you tell your younger self at that particular moment? And would you have mustered the courage to tell yourself to leave that relationship?
Oh, yeah. Red flags were very, very obvious. I think on both our ends, not just him, on myself too. I think I would have told myself, my younger self, just wait, go to school, do what you gotta do, just wait. I think jumping into jobs that you hate, relationships that suck, I think when you rush into things, or when you force, what happens when you try to force something? It's not gonna work out. And if you force it long enough, you're gonna break it. So I would definitely tell my younger self, Gabby, just wait. Take your time. Don't move so fast. Don't wish to be married. Don't wish to have more kids. Don't wish. Like, there was a lot of things that I could have held off. But, you know, now we're here. Patience.
That's on another topic day or whatever.
Yeah, patience is, I think we have a podcast about patience. But anyways, that's really, you know, like I don't claim to be an expert, and I don't claim to be no therapist, but I've been through my share of tragedies, you know, my father dying, my brother drowning, you know, my divorce. That was really, for me, it was very, very heartbreaking. But I've been through some stuff, and I think that I'm a pretty decent person at the end of the spectrum. Honestly, like, people could think I'm a crazy ass because I have these really strong views about life. But I really think that I'm a very sound person in my head. I'm a very matured woman, and I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I know that I'm a damn good woman. And so I think if you learn from tragedies or setbacks or obstacles, your life will be better. Guaranteed. If you want, this is another good advice I think I could give somebody. If and only you know yourself, and I'm talking to the people out there, only you know yourself. If you know you're a person, you may be attractive, but you have no goals, and you're lazy and this and that, but you're trying to, you dream about a partner who is financially independent and strong and good looking, etc., etc. You have to be equivalent to that person. You have to upgrade yourself. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to love yourself before good things happen to you. If you want greatness, you got to be great. If you want a great career, you got to go to school. You got to you have to put in the work within yourself. If you want a great partner, a relationship, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, or a husband, you got to be a damn good person yourself before you demand anybody to be great. So, I mean, does that make sense, partner?
Yeah, but going into the second part of my question, would you have had the courage to call the divorce?
No. And no. I wouldn't have called the divorce. Not because I was the happiest person on the planet, but because that's not my style. First of all, like I said, I give him props for being courageous in that way, even though I think he could have done things a little better. But hey, it is what it is. But there are certain things in my life that I probably wouldn't have called a divorce, because that's not who I am.
So, sacrificing your happiness, you would have stuck through till you're dead?
Yes. Back then, yes. I'm trying to say the old Gabby would have died with this man. Like I would have grown old with this man, and I would have thought, well, this is just who he is. This is just how he is. Put up with it because your grandma did it, your great grandma did it, your mama did it. You see what I'm saying? It's a pattern. It's a pattern that we think is okay to live a certain way. So to answer your question, I would have gone to the grave feeling unfulfilled, because I thought in the ignorance that this is the way things are supposed to be. And you shut up, you put up, you love your husband for who he is unconditionally, and that's it. But now things are different. If I'm not happy, or something is dragging me down or weighing in on me heavy, I need to make a change. Because if I don't make a change, then my sadness and unhappiness is ultimately my fault.
Is there something else you want to cover when it comes to your divorce and what you dealt with for so many years?
No, that's pretty much it. You know, I think people need to feel comfortable to talk about certain things. And I've told you this, partner, that talking to you about things that have really hurt me have actually made me feel better. You hear yourself speak. You know, you have to be open-minded. Telling somebody about your problems, I'm not sitting here saying that you need to be a complainer. That's not what I'm saying. You can't sit and have a conversation with somebody and always complain. That's that's something else. I'm not saying that. But it is healthy to talk about what happened to you. It is healthy to talk about your problems with a friend, and come to realize that you need to change things. That's what I'm talking about. But if you're stuck in the past and you're constantly whining and complaining about, oh me, guess what? You're not just only doing yourself a bad, what's it called? You're not only not doing yourself any good, but you're going to scare people away, honestly. Nobody likes to be around a person who all they do is nag and complain. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, that have healthy conversations. Talk to your friends and family and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And realize once you let it all out, once you spill the guts and you cry and whatever, then realize that you need to change something. You need to get your life together back on track and make things happen for you.
What does the future hold for the next relationship in your life? Or you know, what are your are you seeing somebody? What's your status like right now? Or what are you doing now to protect yourself from even being hurt again?
Damn, you asked some freaking good ass question, Mr. Reporter. That's a good fucking question. Well, first of all, I'm not seeing anybody. I haven't even had a boyfriend since I divorced. Honestly, like, I dove into work. You and I created this business, and I know a lot of people think you and I have dated. No, we've never dated. You and I are strictly best friends. We're business partners. We have a great fucking time together. I think we have, and I think honestly, if I'm honest again, I think you have made me realize that being around somebody with this, and then especially it helps that you're from the, you're the opposite sex, you're a male, so I get to also be in a male presence. But I'm like, holy shit, you and I have so much in common. Like, this is such an easy flowing fucking friendship. It's an easy flowing friendship. So that makes me think, like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that there's guys out there that I could potentially be compatible with, like, in a sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think our friendship really helped me understand what it feels like to be around another man who is different than my ex-husband. You know, like I said, I'm not sitting here bashing him, guys. He's just, it's a different personality. It's totally different personality. And so for my future, I hope one day, and I'm not in a hurry at all. I hope that one day I get to meet a man who is, loving, caring. I mean, shit. I'm gonna sit here describing Prince Charming.
Yeah. We don't have time for that shit.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, it's hard to explain because at the end of the day, you're not ever going to be on point or correct with trying to predict any futures. I know what I don't want. Is that better? I know what I don't want in a relationship. Obviously there has to be boundaries. There has to be respect towards my identity. I am who I am, and I'm a dope ass person, to be honest. Shit, if I gotta toot my own horn, I think everybody needs to toot their own horn once in a while. But I'm a dope ass person. If you respect my identity, I respect your identity. We could chill together, we could have fun together. You need your space, cool. I need my space, definitely. So there's a lot of things that I know that I don't want in a relationship, based off of what I've learned from my ex-husband, and even being friends with you, partner. It's helped me so much understand that there are two different types of people out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at right now.
Good. Well, you have shed a lot of light from my perspective. I do respect you for that. If you're listening out there, thank you for letting go of my best friend. Efren, it was probably one of the best decisions you could have made, and for myself. I'm just being selfish a little bit, but I can't deny that I found a very good person in my life.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think that's all the time that we have today, partner. You want to close it out with something valuable?
Wow, man, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate you with all my heart. And I, too, am very grateful. Things happen for a reason. And, I'm no longer married. I lost also a big part of me. But I gained an amazing fucking best friend. And, being married, you can't have a male best friend. So that would have been out the fucking window. So having said what you just said, I agree with you, and I gained an amazing fucking best friend. You are, you have been an amazing human being. You're an amazing man. You're a great father to your two kids. So I admire you for who you are. And I mean, shit, man, what can I say? Life is great. Life is amazing. Life is beautiful. You're going through some hard times, guys. Please understand this. Understand it even though you don't feel it right now. Things will get better, but it is also your responsibility to level up. It is your responsibility to stop feeling sorry for yourself It is time for you to gain or to control your own life. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening in and tuning in to our podcast. We record on literally, we're not in a studio, as you could probably hear all the background noise. We are on the road, and that's why it's on, the GM podcast. We're on the road all the time, and this is really the only space we have to record our podcast. So thank you for tuning in. We talk about a variety of topics. As you can see, we will start posting more podcasts. So thank you guys. Have a great one.
All right, you guys heard it from the best. We will get better at these shows. I promise you this. Okay, we're beginners in a podcast, and hopefully it won't be the last. I know we have a lot of value. We have very deep, pretty good intellectual conversations, you and I, and it always surprises me on how we can help each other out mentally. But we hope to do the same for you guys out there, and whoever's tuning in, hope you guys tune in next time and the shows after. We'll keep you guys posted on more shows coming up ahead. Thanks again. See you next time.